'05 Honda Civic. Taking the dust cover off of it. You can get these at AutoZone or O'Reilly's. They usually have like a little help section that's got these types. What you worry about is the inner size of this. Don't worry about what the head looks like.
Right.
Worry about that size there because it fits the hole.
Right.
And what I usually do is I'll squeeze them together to kind of make them straight, and that tells you the diameter. Okay. Some of them you gotta squeeze together, some of them you just pull out. Alright. Now, lovely stereo wires, huh? Tape comes off. I'm gonna zip tie this back. Okay? I'm gonna do this tape stuff. Actually surprised it works, but that's pretty good tape, so. Trash right now is all gonna go over there. That's fine, just put gloves in. Okay. I think we can leave that pretty much attached. We're gonna take this bottom plate underneath the battery out. Alright, we're gonna take out the air cleaner. A couple markers to mark everything. Do not believe in scratching your head trying to figure out where stuff goes, okay? So I mark everything. A little bit of overkill sometimes, but well worth it when you're trying to figure it out. Nothing worse than somebody standing there going, where's it go? Then trying to look at figures, look at pictures. I don't like doing it. This hose is totally collapsed.
I know, it's cheap ass hose.
Better for you. Almost to find a coil to stick in there to keep it open.
Yeah, well, it's gonna have to get a thicker.
You can pull that up if you want. Take a marker and mark breather on it. Just put B-R-T-H-E-R for your B-T-R. One end's marked. This one marked. Oh, no. Stick it in order. Everything comes off in order. That way we can put it back together the same way we took it apart in the order.
Got it.
Just makes it simpler. What was I looking for? Transmission bolts and all that good stuff. And you probably ought to get a good solid hose for that. That'll fit inside there. Yes. I'm just going to tie up and get it out of the way because nothing worse than trying to work around a crack. It likes to play in your hair. How bad is your air cleaner to get apart all tucked away up in there? Let's grab this one too, just in case.
Now you're gonna have to remove
Yep.
this front fender liner, and there's a one more bolt down on the bottom if I remember right, hold it in.
You guys put that in there?
Yep.
Let you get more horsepower?
No, the factory one was torn, so this was only a couple dollars more than getting a whole new factory intake.
Plastic.
Mm-hmm.
What have you been doing with this here? Yeah. This lovely thing glued in.
I didn't even see that until we took out the factory thing. Like, what the hell? All I guess is a breather tube or something?
Look up on the next one, see what that thing causes. It's clogged up, glued up. I don't know what the hell that thing is. It's not original. I can tell you that. So, looks like Gorilla Glue.
Yeah, 'cause the whole factory intake took up this whole section right here, so I never even saw that until I pulled it
Just
out.
stick that over there with the hoses and stuff, and we'll deal with that when we get it out and see what's going on with it, okay? Not really worried about that little tube, but
So I noticed the Saab has the same thing coming out of the transmission, so.
it's got a hose on it too. Well, this one looks like it's rotted off or something. I don't know what's going on with it. You see it?
Mm-hmm. So I was putting the clutch in, you're saying you couldn't even see it moving down here?
No, I can see it slaving.
Okay.
I just couldn't tell. Up on top, I couldn't see it slaving. It was just that bar was over the top.
Yeah.
It slaves right here. I'll show you. Firm believer, give yourself some room, man. 'Cause when you try to get something out here, you got nobody else helping you. Which today maybe I do, but it's kind of hard to hold stuff, get stuff out of the way, and then you got to jump up,
Yeah.
maneuver yourself, and you're like, really? I'm gonna go 5 times to try to get that right. Anyway, your slave needs to come loose. Take that loose there. This, not really gonna mess with that like that. I'm gonna put you a zip tie back on it. So, I got a drop light if that's what you're after. I'm not really looking for one though.
Oh, okay.
I was just kind of talking to myself.
Well, it is kind of dark down there.
It is, but I can see after my eyes adjust. It's when you're outside and then come inside, it's hard to see really, but we're doing all right.
Okay.
I whine and complain a lot, but I still get through it.
I like to get one of those big LED tubes that hook to your
I
hood.
got one of the free ones from Harbor Freight you stick to your head. I ain't gonna be dumb enough to wear it on camera though. Yeah, maybe I will. Who knows? Okay, that took care of that. Let's get this tray out, and I think we're pretty much there.
I really have to take the intake manifold off too.
Huh?
So from what I read, you have to take the intake manifold off. He said there's like one bolt underneath there for the transmission.
Not seeing that one, but we'll get there when that time arrives. I don't think you have to take that off, but
That'd be
not
good.
sure. What else am I looking at? Taking that tray out of here. Let's get the tray out. Let's get some wrenches. Right. Let's do good now. Pull that out there. Perfect. Beautiful. Let's work on getting the axles out so we can drop the cradle and now suspend the motor.
So this is the slave cylinder down here, this piston.
Yeah, I believe. Yeah, right there. That. See this arm here? Yeah, I forgot to show you that. Didn't I? See this arm right here?
Yeah.
That pushes that out as you push on the clutch.
Right.
That slaves that, pushes the fingers in on the clutch,
Right, okay.
and then releases it.
Yeah, no wonder I couldn't find it. That air intake wasn't away.
Yeah, it was right over the top of it. I couldn't see it neither. That's why I went up underneath.
So I was following this hard line from the master cylinder and it just disappeared in there. I could, like, where the hell is it?
We're gonna start taking out the axle. brakes on. Let's go back together with it. What do you think? Your boy likes his brakes too?
Yeah, they help.
It's alright. No biggie. He wears into this rotor though, and then you're gonna be changing the rotor. But right now his rotor's still safe, so I'd say just buy you $20 worth of brake shoes. We got there. 12. Hey, PD?
I'm sorry?
PD, penetrant?
I don't.
WD-40?
Yep.
Lubricant, any kind of lubricant?
I got WD-40.
Okay, that helps break bolts loose. PB is the best, but
Yeah.
might really beat the piss out of that.
I noticed that too.
Do me a favor, there's an oil pan inside that big box.
Yep.
Grab that, because I'm going to soak this and capture anything that falls in. Two little screws.
Okay.
Just tell me if they're loose. If they're not, I have to break them loose. Usually they're not loose. Somehow, somebody's left yours loose. They loose?
Yep.
Wow, you got lucky. Usually I drill them out real quick. But, somebody made your day.
Yeah, they're
Made
both.
my day. Okay. Just stick the two screws and screw them back in the rotor real quick. Oh wait, I'm sorry, wrong spot. Screw them here. I believe. Usually you gotta really try to work these out with an impact, but I drill them out. Everybody's like, oh, you do that and then the head's broke. No, and then you screw them right out for some stupid reason. They get real tight. And they broke yours loose though, which it did. I guarantee you I probably drilled out over 40 of these. Now, but we didn't take these loose. Take this still loose and let that pump up and see if maybe it's just a pressure thing. Breaker bar is? In the front toolbox, second from the bottom is a breaker bar and a ratcheting 1/2-inch wrench.
So I'm guessing I'm going to need a front end alignment after this too, right?
No, your bolts only go through at one spot. See that?
Okay.
You shouldn't need one. You can get it checked if you're worried about your tires and all that good stuff. I would, but personally, I don't really think you need to. You're not gonna.
Okay.
You can't really adjust it too much. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I tell everybody it doesn't hurt to have them checked, but you really don't have no slop to really play with it.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't know about taking out the subframe and all that. That's going to affect it.
That is why I would say have it checked out. I'm going to mark the spots they're in, but you can be off 2 to 5 degrees right there if you wear your tires. So. One side. Now, I need to zip tie this up. They did the same thing on this one.
Yeah, that's what I was just looking at too.
We got wild with it. Thought it was gonna come loose for some reason. I think they were scared. Okay, we tried again. Okay, let's try and take this center nut off again. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do that. I might have to break that loose with a breaker bar. I don't like doing that though. You only need to tap it down. They really crush that down. That's bad. Because when you go to torque these back down, now that's going to affect your torque if you get too far in, if it hits that thread. I just don't like that. I wish they would have never done that. Man, they did it in 2 spots too. That's why it's so hard to get off. This has got, this one has a wheel sensor on it. See how that's got a wire on it? Tie this one up. Get it out of the way. Okay, see this? See how when I took this, I just lifted it up? Mm-hmm. All I want you to do is go over to the other side, lift the boot up, and see if this piece, any of this piece is out of that center. Just see if any of that is out of it. Just to make sure your struts ain't ripped apart. Sometimes they strip the threads out and they'll bust out.
It looks like the same as that side.
That's fine. As long as you don't see something that looks like the threads are all mangled up and they popped out,
No.
you're okay. So every time you hit a bump, it'll clank, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But don't hurt to check it while we're here, you know. nice to know for future reference. Okay, we gotta get this piece out of here, which is the fun, unless we disconnect it. Right here. To leave it all together. If I can get that piece out of there, how do they hook that? It might be better to disconnect it and leave it together at the bottom. Trying to get it out of here, sometimes it doesn't want to come out without breaking the sensor. So,
How much easier is this doing this on the lift?
a lot. But, what do you think they're going to charge you? Do me a favor, grab me an extension. You're going to love your pocketbook, man. Oh, you know what? Hold on for a second. I think I might have something here. Let's see. Yeah, I can get it right here. I'm all right. I don't know what transmission shops are charging. 80, 90, 45, at least you go to a mom and pop shop. Okay, we're working on an 05 Honda Civic SI. Putting in the flywheel. Got the transmission out. You want to torque down the bolts, 76 foot-pounds. You want to do it in a crisscross pattern. From here to here to here to over to there. You want to do it in a crisscross pattern. When you measure the run out, you want to press on the flywheel as you use a dial indicator to the outside surface and then to the inside surface. I would prefer, as you measure that, you spin it, and then as you're doing that, you know, as you're spinning your flywheel, you can turn it, and then I measured all the way around it as I turned it. But you're also supposed to push in and check to make sure that your in play isn't more than 6 thousandths. The service limit is 6 thousandths on a used flywheel, and then a new one is 2 thousandths. Otherwise, you need to replace the flywheel. So that's how you check that. There's really no spec. You got to be careful when you go to the aftermarket flywheels. I've actually measured the distance between a aluminum one and the starter here. The starter, they're about 40 thousandths difference. So you got to be careful that you don't put in too tight of a flywheel up here, because if you do that, then you could have too tight of a starter. It could bind up. There's no shims for it or anything. You'd have to devise something for it. So basically, I've checked this flywheel here. I cleaned it up with a Teflon disc. I didn't really kiss it very hard or anything. It's really kind of smooth. I cleaned it up. And you also want to use Loctite on the bushing you put back in here. They look like they come out. They're split. There's a split in the actual bushing, but you want to put Loctite back on it. Some call for it, some don't, but I'd still put just a little bit of Loctite just around the outside edge of it at least, or when you're putting it in, put it on the bushing. You don't want to coat it real thick. You don't want to get it anywhere else. You just want to get it right there on the outside edge of the bushing, and then torque these down to 76. You're good to go. Make sure your pins are in the same place. I always prefer marking them, like if you can see here, when I put my clutch back in, even if it's new, I always mark it with some paint, and then I use some blue, I believe on the other side, somewhere around here, or I use some green, I'm sorry, up here on this top one. I use some green there as well. Sorry I'm shaky, but underneath the car it's a little bit harder, but other than that, you're good to go. Just figured I'd fill you in on that and let you know what you got to do to basically get the flywheel back in. Other than that, I'll keep you posted as we start putting it together. I appreciate it if you'd subscribe and also share it with your friends, and hit the like button if you like my videos. Appreciate it. Alright, because of time consumption, weather and stuff, I went ahead and put the transmission in, but I'll go ahead and give you the torque specs on the clutch, pressure plate. The clutch springs get facing out, the pressure plate gets put back on. Just mark the pins in the old plate and then match it up with your new plate. Like I said, make sure that your distance on your flywheel is the same from the starter to the flywheel inside groove of the tooth. Just measure from the housing over, and then when you put your new one on, measure that too. Make sure that's within at least 10 thousandths. If it's more like 40 or 50, I'm not sure if that'll work or not, but that's what he bought, was a high performance one, and I told him we're not going to put that back in there because it was too tight. So if you find yourself 50 thousandths difference, you better get some information on that. But went ahead and used this old one, tested the run out on it and made sure that it was under 6 thousandths is the service limit, and then 2 thousandths for a new one. So that's checking against your thrust plate. However, start giving you some torque specs here. These right here, they get like, I went ahead and used 47 because everything's pretty much like a 47 on everything, but these here on top of the transmission get like 42 to 43. So you can torque all those bolts down, all of those. And then the slave cylinder, I just went ahead and snugged that down and got that pretty good over here. It's kind of hard to see, but it's underneath your water hose here. It's kind of hard to see it. I don't know if you can see in there, but your slave there, the two bolts that go on top there. The short bolt, the one with the beveled edge on it, goes in the back, and then you'll see that the other one's flat, so that goes in the front. Okay, the 4 bolts that are underneath here, those get 76 foot-pounds. Your dust cover here, just snug that down. You only get about 7 foot-pounds on that. It's not very much. All the 10mm bolts, you can pretty much put about 7 foot-pounds on them. Don't remember what the torque spec is on them, but they're not real important. There's 2 up here in the motor mount. See if I can back out here. Motor mount bolts, 47 here, 47 here, 47 on the other 2 up there. Now you got an AC bracket. Yes, zoom in here real quick. You can see the bolt through the backside right here. You can basically take that bolt out, and then there's another one that's around the other side of the motor mount. There's another one that's over here, and it's on the other side of the frame. You can't really see it. I can't get the camera up there, but you can feel it around the other side. It's 10mm. You use a 10mm wrench, you can get it out. Now, specs call you to take out this bracket that's up here, and it bolts. It's real hard to see, but I'm going to get you in there. Let's see here. This bracket that's right up in here. They tell you to take off the intake, but you don't have to do that. You can take this off, and then straight up There's another bolt that goes into the bottom of the intake, and then there's like a horseshoe that goes like this, a bracket. You got to take a bolt out that is angled over this way. So if you take that out, I can back up here, you can take all these wires and stuff, get them out of the way, and then you can get up there and get those two bolts out. You don't have to take the intake off. Another thing is the back motor mounts all get 47 foot-pounds. This big bowl here, let me see if I can reach up there so you can see it. All these brackets here, 47 foot-pounds on all those. 47 foot-pounds on the transmission bell housing bolts. They all get 47. Your sway bar links, the caps here, those get 30 foot-pounds, I believe. And then the actual end, I only took this one off. On the other side, everybody wants to know, how do you get the transmission out at home without having the actual special tools? Well, the special tool goes from this strut plate to the other strut plate. You don't need it. What you do is, I'm going to tell you right here the key to it. Leave the front motor mount in. It is right there. Leave that one in. Leave that motor mount on the transmission, the rear transmission mount. Leave that in. Take the cradle out. You can drop the whole thing. The whole motor will stay inside. It'll stay level. Once you get the cradle out, this is the under support carriage. You can loosen all that up, take everything loose underneath. So once you get that done, of course you got to take the axles out and all that good stuff. You drop all that out. Now I've got it back in, but once you drop that under support, that whole cross piece there, and you got the motor suspended on the front and the rear motor mount, you can literally take and just put a jack with a flat piece of board about the size of that, put that underneath your oil pan and put a jack that holds, and you can support the motor. Once you support the motor with the jack going out that way off the front of the motor, you can sit there and take the transmission out. It's not a problem. Done this one just that way. Once you drop the support, put the transmission jack on, or put a motor jack underneath the engine, support the motor, hold it up. You can drop the transmission right out of the car. So I used the transmission jack from Harbor Freight. Worked excellent. All I did was torque everything down, put it back together. Here's your transmission back in. When you go to put it back in, of course, first thing you do is put the transmission in, and then you put that motor mount back in. Then you can take the jack out from underneath the motor. Once you take the jack out from underneath the motor, you can take a jack, and you can take a transmission jack like I did, and you can simply push back up the cradle. Mark the cradle out so that way you can put the bolts back in the same spot, or you can actually use the same rings that where your washer set flush on it, and that'll help you get it back straight. It's not that complicated. Doesn't have to be that difficult. Either way, guys, hope this helps. You don't have to take your intake off. You don't have to have special tools. You can get her done. I need a rotor for this side. I need a caliper for this side. All right. You want to hand me those?
Yep.
I need to torque these down real fast. Don't put a lot on them. I just give you a little bit to make them glide. Wait a minute. Get down there. Nothing spectacular. Okay, take the reservoir loose to the brake master cylinder. Go slowly with it so you can push it in real easily, slowly at a time. And they always got to pry on, man, that's hard and stuff. And I bent your C-clamps. I'm like, dude, I told you, go in slowly. If you go in slowly, it'll work its way in, it'll bleed the pressure off.
Right.
Instead, they got to squeeze them like crazy, bend the shit up. And I'm like, damn, I told you, go slow, go slow. So they ruin your tools. But if you go slow, it works great. They just can't understand etiquette in English. I don't know shit what they're doing. Okay, these pins have to be. Okay, that feels good. That one's tight. No. Okay, there it is. Gotta make sure these free flow and they feel like they got oil in them. Now I can take it off, but I can feel the oil in there because it's lubricated. They won't move if they're dry. And those feel nice and good. Just one. All right, now you got a wrench that's got to go back there. That's the 19. And that's it. Turn the wheels to the right now. So I got to get all these sensors and shit hooked up now. It's nice to know all your bolts are torqued down to spec, though. People feel more comfortable with how you work on their cars and just tightening shit down, you know, at your leisure.
Yeah, that's good enough.
Yeah. Good and, I like the Craigslist good and tight guy. I was like, good and tight, huh? That's awesome. It's so tight that you broke it off. Spend 3 more hours fixing it. Says to Earl the back side of this bolt. Why? I don't know. Yeah, I need 3 lug nuts. I'm busy, woman. Damn, come on. You want a girlfriend?
No.
I'll give you one. I went out on one girl with awful plenty of fish. You know what that is? It's a dating site. So I got on there and I started talking to this woman. She's like, oh yeah, I dated my husband and divorced him and took him for like $180,000. Built me a new house. You gonna build me a new house? I'm looking at her going, woman, I ain't doing shit with you. You're like, rob me blind, you know? She went, no, that guy's like, $180,000, you couldn't have fixed your teeth? I was like, what, did you miss your mouth or something? And now you trying to get a boyfriend? Nobody wants to stick their tongue in that nasty potty mouth of yours. I was like, you should have fixed those damn teeth, sister. So I was watching Dr. Phil at my brother's house one time. This woman had real bad, I guess, pyorrhea of the mouth or something. I guess she got them fixed, all those implants that they can do or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So she got $180,000 with the implants done, and which was cool. So I was thinking, $180,000, you could have bought, you should buy the fucking airplane. That corrodes me or what? That needs to go on the other side. Okay, that goes, that's in the wrong spot. Look at that. They didn't even have them torqued down right. See that?
Mm-hmm.
What the hell? Holy shit, I'm gonna check that out. That should be lined back up. You know how they put these on, don't you?
Air wrench.
Damn right. That's how you know that they ain't in the right spot. Yeah, that's when you know somebody's been dicking around in here with air. When your shit's not in the same spot. And that's all you need to do right there. You know, it just needs to be able to hit it and stop, but you ain't got to do all that concave shit that they're doing. You really need a new bolt. Okay. It feels good. That in and out's okay. It's up and down.
Okay.
And the knuckle joint, the joint twisting, if you could twist this one and hold this one steady, you got problems. See, watch. It's not. You've got no slack in there, so that's pretty good. I'm not going to put the tires back on yet because we got to put all your plastics on.
Yeah.
All right. Going to give you guys the torque specs on the calipers. First off, your lug nuts are 80 foot-pounds. Your calipers are 16 foot-pounds. Your caliper bolts, or the caliper bracket bolts, are 80 foot-pounds that are in the back. The two bolts back there that hold your bracket on. Those are 80 foot-pounds. Your axle nuts, 134 foot-pounds. And your brake hose here is 16 foot-pounds. Any of your, like your rotor bolts that go right here, those are 7.2 foot-pounds. And your, let's see here, your brake hose, or your speed sensor, is 7.2 foot-pounds as well. So if you go 7 foot-pounds on your speed sensor that's back here in the back, this bolt that goes to that'd be 7 foot-pounds as well. And I think that covers everything. All these little brackets here, if you got to take off the speed sensor, you can torque them down to, I just go about 90 inch-pounds on those, but either way, you just get them good and snug. Don't over torque them, you'll strip them out. Other than that, you do have your bolts here to the end of your strut, and that one is 116 foot-pounds on this bolt and the one below. So there you go, guys. Enjoy. Okay, as you come in, you can see the bolt. Now I'm coming in through the fender well on the back side of the rotor. As you can see, there's your bolt to fill it. We're going to fill that up until it drains out in an oil pan. We're using Honda MTF fluid. Let's go underneath. Okay, here we go. We'll just go underneath. And you can see it right here on the bottom. It's got a 3/8 head. And I can't back out any farther. There we go. That's a little better. So there's your transmission. There's the oil pan you come across, and you'll see it right there. That gets torqued down to 29 foot-pounds, and the upper bolt where you fill it gets torqued down to 33 foot-pounds.